Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 331. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G Network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RatedG4Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Pumpkin Spice Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
I think you should be Mr., lucky you're not a zombie Rotino, and I should be the Pumpkin Spice Robinson. All right.
Well, you already got a nickname, Dan. I don't think I've ever had a Dave quote Rotino nickname. I never did that to myself on the show. So
I've given you nicknames. You just didn't like any of them early on.
I mean, they're terrible. Dave Fable is a really good game. Rotino? No, I'm not gonna.
That's great. I think that's great.
Dave,
that's great.
Dave, you're crazy. Super Mario World is the greatest game of all time. Rotino doesn't really roll off the tongue. Pumpkin Spice.
No, I don't.
Pumpkin.
No, you know what? One of my favorites. Those two were great. I think top three. Those two, and you're forgetting. Day Final Fantasy sucks. Rotino.
Oh, see, this is just all projection from Mr. Robinson over here.
I like those. All right.
This is what you get when you go to his neighborhood. All right.
Well, let's just get the monkey off the back. Let's just talk about it.
Cat out of the bag, for sure.
We've been gone for 2 weeks.
Oh my God. I had the plagas. I had the plague. Yep. It was bad news. I'm pretty sure it was the flu. I took a COVID test. I don't think it was COVID. Somehow we managed to do an episode of Saturday Morning Retro, which is great.
Barely.
You should go back and listen to it, but we made it happen. It's still a good episode, even though I was dying during that episode. I'm back. I'm pretty much on the other side of it now. So I'm feeling pretty good.
All right. Well, I just want to put it out there. If you listen to this and you start hearing Dave moan and say brains, it's over.
So it's funny you mention all that because it is the spooky season, right? And
it is. It's one of my it's my second favorite time of the year.
Sure. Thanksgiving or Christmas is number one. I forget.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah. That's up there.
Number one. Thanksgiving is number one. Food. If you know me, I love food.
Yeah.
October, spooky season, even though I don't like spooky games. That's number two, because it's just the start of fall, really.
Sure.
Right?
It's a great season. It's a great season.
It's fall. Great season. And then you have Christmas, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just because I get free stuff.
You do. You really find a way to get new heavy hitters into your collection. But I was just going to say, because I've been kind of not able to do that much, and I've been kind of home a lot. There's two new shows, one on Netflix and one on Hulu, that are very spooky, very good to watch right now. They're good to watch anytime, I think, because they're just really good shows. But one is the Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries. It's a 10-episode run.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. How was it?
It is bananas. Now, they've done this before. Apparently, Jeremy Renner did one of them back in 2002. There's been obviously documentaries about him and whatnot. So there's been a lot about Jeffrey Dahmer. This one is new. It does star Quicksilver as Jeffrey Dahmer, Evan Peters, which is very funny to see him as Jeffrey Dahmer. And
I just want to say nobody knows who Mr. Peters is, but they know who Quicksilver is.
well, yeah, Quicksilver is Evan Peters. Yeah. But you'll
nobody
like
knows
instantly be like, oh my God, it's that guy, right? Which is like wild. And it has some other key people in it, which is good. Everyone gives a stellar performance. It is very accurate to the details of his life, because he was very forthcoming with like all of the details about his life and what he did and all that. So they had a lot of like I guess documents and evidence and tapes and whatever to like kind of like go through. And then the other one is called The Patient with Steve Carell, which is also about a serial killer. Steve Carell plays a psychologist who gets kidnapped, and
Dave, is there a theme to this? Like, is there?
I mean, yeah.
Killer shows.
They're both very good. They're both very good in their own right. So
I feel like I tighten this up a little bit because you brought this down. You brought me down. All your serial killers.
Why you didn't? Well, all right.
Well, since we weren't doing the show, I know you were sick, so I had nothing else better to do but to binge watch all 131 episodes of Dragon Ball Super.
Ooh!
I completed all of them. All of them.
Okay.
I got Hulu for 6 free months thanks to Verizon. Thank you. I got Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN. I got the triple pack. Free for 6 months.
Yep.
So I'm taking advantage of that, and I was like, "Oh, Dragon Ball Super's on here," so this gives me a reason to watch Hulu. So I watched 131 episodes plus the movie, which is just the first 7, 8 episodes, to be honest.
Right.
So I binge watched all of it, and Dragon Ball Super is awesome. Okay?
Yeah,
big Dragon Ball fan.
Better than Dragon Ball Z?
No, of course not.
Okay,
of course not. Dragon Ball Z is iconic. It's like.
Well, yeah, but there was a lot of filler episodes. Like half of that series, 3/4 of that series was waiting around for the big battle. That's true.
That's all Dragon Ball. That's all Dragon Ball seasons. Like from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z,
and GT. Yeah.
Well, Dragon Ball Super is sort of like GT didn't happen because it wasn't the same. Right. It wasn't the same guy, right? Mm-hmm. So GT didn't really happen technically, right? Or I don't know if they're going to spin it to where that was an alternate universe because they do have alternate universes,
right?
In Dragon Ball, so they could use that. But every Dragon Ball season has the filler where you're waiting, right?
See, that's the part that I hate.
Everything has it, and it's goofy and it's funky. It's funny because it's a Japanese anime, so it's like goofy and funny. And
I know, but you do that for like an episode, not 4 episodes, right? Like,
because you never.
I remember in Dragon Ball Z when Goku's trying to bring down the Spirit Bomb, right? That was like a year of time, and he finally does it. And you're like, holy shit! You like crap your pants because it's so amazing because you waited so long for it. But my God, were those in between episodes boring?
Well, I wouldn't say boring, but I will. Okay, you know what? You know what it is? I got to binge watch all of them, right? And sometimes I'll watch like 20 episodes in a row. So I got the fast forward. Well, I would say fast forward, but I got to sort of
compress them.
Kind of. It wasn't like I watched it and it was like, oh my God, I got to wait till next week.
No, I know. That makes all the difference. You could just sit on your couch and go boom, 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 boom. But when you were a kid, it was like every week on Cartoon Network was the next episode.
Oh,
if you were lucky.
Every week it was the next episode, and it was like, all right, we're gonna be gone for the summer, so you gotta wait.
Oh my God, December. I know. Right? It's killer. It's killer.
Yeah. No, but I will say the first after sort of the movie episodes is what I call it because the first like 10 or 15 episodes was the movie that came out. Right. When you get into like Goku Black, right, like that gave you what you wanted, like the big clash, right? Okay. So they had some filler episodes too, but they weren't as many, or at least it didn't seem as much. But I binge watched that, and I binge watched Cobra Kai season 5. Fantastic.
Is this the final season? Is this it?
I don't know. They
Oh,
did.
God.
They did. I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
so. But I got to be honest. Season 4 was good, but it wasn't as good as season 1 or 2 or 3. Like season 4 was probably
Season 1 was really good, and honestly, I think
I love 2. I love
they
2 and
they
3. I love 2 and 3.
they could have ended it after 2 seasons.
No, season 5 was so good. It was so good.
They like, here's the guy from 2 and here's the guy from 3, and it's like, all right, come on.
Yo, everybody, even his girlfriend in 3 was back. Like they brought back
I know, because they don't have anything else to work with. Like they're reliving on old.
No. See, you're hating, but you didn't watch.
I'm not hating.
5 is fantastic. Season 5 is fantastic.
I'm gonna watch it, but I was kind of like, I've already so much invested. I mean, it's popcorn. It's fine.
No,
it's fine. I'm not trying to
season,
shit in it, but
I mean,
it's alright.
If they end it with season 5, it's good. Like they cut.
Well, they don't have any more old material to work on, so they'd have to make new storylines.
There's some people that can come in. That's some people that can come in.
See, I can't. What are they gonna resurrect Mr. Miyagi and bring him back? I mean, come on.
Bring him back digitally, but no.
I mean, they certainly could. They have enough footage of him from Happy Days and all of his movies.
What was the Karate Kid with the female?
The next Karate Kid with
the next Karate Kid. Yeah, I forgot.
The girl from $1 Million Baby.
Swank, Hilary Swank, right?
Hilary Swank, that's right.
Now
I never saw that one. I don't know if that was any good, but yeah, they could bring back Hilary Swank. Christ.
No, it was terrible. But it was terrible, but I would bring her back too. Come on.
I mean, what else are they going to do, Dan? I mean,
I'm telling you, season 5 was fantastic. I love it.
Okay.
Better than season 4. It's way better than season 4.
You know how you tell me that you criticize me sometimes that, like, video games are too big and like it's always good to have more stuff and this, and sometimes it's too much. This is too much. This is too much of a good thing. They came back. Cobra Kai came back, right? They had a really good hook. YouTube's like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and produce this. They did the first 2 seasons, and they're like, yeah, this is cool. And then they're like, nope, we're out. They sold it to Netflix. Netflix made a couple more seasons. It's great. Good on them. I'm glad they're all doing well. They all got paid, but it's time to close that casket.
I give me 2 more seasons.
2 more seasons. Oh my God, Dan. This is gonna go longer than Cheers. Cheers went 11 seasons, and it was good up until the end.
Just give me 7. Just give me 7, and I'll be okay.
God, I guess.
All right. Well, I just want to say, if they end it with 5, they cut all the strings, the storylines. Theoretically, you could say are done, right?
Okay, it's all tied up. Yeah.
They could be. It could be tied up. You could perceive it as tied up, but they did leave room for where I can see where they would go for a season 6.
Sure.
Right?
That's the as a show producer, I guess, or like economically or whatever, that's the way to do it. If you want to do more, but you don't know if there's funding behind it, you leave the door open a little bit to where people are satisfied. You tie up all the things, but you could continue it if you wanted to, or if there's more funding involved and whatnot. So I don't blame them for doing that. I think it's getting a little thin.
The ending to season 5, I thought, my opinion, was awesome.
Okay.
I thought it was like.
Well, I got to see it so I can give my opinion.
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was perfect. Right. There was out of 10 episodes, I want to say there were 2 that were like, they're like, right?
Two of them were waiting for the spirit bomb.
2 of them were waiting. 2 of them were the setup for the spirit bomb. It was too long. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So let's get this. It's been 2 weeks, so.
I know we got a lot. We got a lot
that we're doing. I gotta get back in the swing of things. We have an awesome show this week.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up, we're gonna talk about a big game that was supposed to be out in 2022. Gets delayed yet again into 2023. We'll talk about that. And then we have big news regarding my favorite punching bag, Stadia.
Yeah. Listen. I used to be the one holding the bag, trying to be like, no, propping him up, but. Yeah, I think we got some news.
But before we get into any of that, let's begin the show with The Last of Us. Not the game, But the TV show, well, the HBO show, teaser trailer. I gotta be honest, it was like a minute and like 20 seconds long, and I thought it was pretty epic. I was impressed.
I mean,
I was impressed.
you love The Last of Us. I think it's a great game too. I think it's amazing. Really tugged on the heartstrings. 1 and 2, loved them both.
My second favorite Sony franchise
after Uncharted. Sure, yeah.
Uncharted. Uncharted.
Which are both amazing in their own right. I really wish they would do more Uncharted stuff. I was going to say an Uncharted series, corrected myself because they have the movie. I want them to do more movies. The Last of Us looked cool. I think Pedro Pascal, I think they really hit it. He's an amazing actor. I love him.
He's Joel. Complete. He's Joel.
Yeah.
I like the clickers, right? Like you see the clickers. I like the way they have the world set up.
It's very accurate to the video games, the setup and all that, the way that Joel is represented. I think the one thing that I think you and me are aligned with what the internet says is that Ellie is a little bit off the mark, looks-wise.
She looks nothing like Ellie from the game.
Yeah.
I don't know this actress.
Neither do I. No.
I just hope she knocks it out of the park, right? Like, I hope she knocks it out of the park because I want the show to do well, and just I'm hyped for it. Just looking at the trailer, and now I can understand why they wanted to put The Last of Us Part 1 out on the PS5, right? Because people may see this trailer, may see the TV show and say, I got to play the game, right? And they have a brand new game. Well, they took an old game and fixed it to make it sort of work like The Last of Us Part 2 on PS4, which I think The Last of Us Part 1 is awesome. I loved that game.
Or they could just play the PS4 version, which is compatible on the PS5 and still looks amazing. But
it looks way better, though. I'm just saying.
It's fine. You know, if people want to pay $70 for it, sure.
We're on the same page with the price. Definitely shouldn't be $70.
But yeah, this is looking real good. It's coming out next year, right? 2023, I believe.
Yeah, we don't have we just have a sort of a year. We don't know when it's going to come out next year.
Right.
I would assume maybe they're not, like in the fall, maybe before. I mean, it's on HBO. On HBO, I don't know. Actually, that's not. I was gonna say I don't know how they sort of release their shows. Like, do they do everything at once or once a week? But
HBO typically, like if you look at like Game of Thrones or whatnot, they do like a once a week situation.
Well, I think this is going to be on HBO Max. I don't think it's going to be on like the TV on their actual channel.
Right, but I
exclusive to the streaming service.
I still think they're going to do a week by week situation.
No, you're right. You're right because the show with John Cena that we both love. I can't think of the name.
Oh, Peacemaker. Yeah. Peacemaker was week to week.
Did that. It was every Friday, right?
Yeah, so. And I think a lot more companies are going back to the TV model where you have a new episode every week, right? Usually a new episode every week. Because I know when Netflix started doing their own shows, they would just dump a whole season on you, and then you would binge it in one day, and then you're done. And I'm like, well, that's cool, but you don't get... I don't think it's the same kind of impact. If you watch like a heavy show like Breaking Bad, and you watch a whole season in like a day, which you could totally do, or like 2 days, you don't have time to process everything, right? So there's like a lot of shit going down. Yeah. You can't sit there with it for a little bit and think about it and then see the next episode, and it doesn't have time to build. I think you're getting that back now. They're realizing that, it's better. You also prolong it being in the zeitgeist, right? People are talking about it week after week, right? It's like, there's a new episode. You see the new episode, right? As opposed to like everything's done. Everybody sees it in one clip, and then they talk about it for a little bit, and then it goes away. So, I don't know.
No, I understand. I mean, listen, I know I talked about it on the show many moons ago, but I do watch soap. I do watch Days of Our Lives. I love Days of Our Lives, and now they put it exclusively on Peacock, which is driving me nuts.
I know.
So they took it off a regular
I
TV.
know.
Right, they got me. They got me. As soon as they put it on Peacock, they said, "Hey, limited time offer. You can get Peacock for $2 a month for the first year." So of course I had.
See, Dan was hungering for the Peacock, and they made it real tantalizing for him, so he had to bite.
And they don't put it on. I can't binge watch myself. They put it on every day, like
Right.
at the beginning of the day. Like they put it up every day. So
Oh yeah.
But, you know,
okay.
we've talked enough about TV shows. This is not the TV show podcast. This is the
it's
video game podcast.
Mhm.
And since this is the first episode, since we missed, this is the first episode of the new month. You know what that means. We're talking about the notable games coming out this month. And as always, all the game release dates that I get, information comes from Game Informer, their video game release date page. So if I get wrong, don't blame me, blame them, because that's where I pull my info from.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get started. We start the month off October 4th with Watch 2, coming out on PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, not Stadia. And we'll talk about that a little later.
Right. I totally forgot this game was coming out so soon. I wonder what the reception is going to be when it finally releases the full version. Because I know a lot of people are like, this is like Overwatch 1.5. It's not quite Overwatch 2. So I'm curious to see. Because I like the first one a lot. It was really good. I bought the special edition for it with the statue and all that. So we'll see.
That's okay. It'll be on Games Pass next year when, you know.
No. You gotta play it on PC,
game.
Dan. Gotta play it on PC.
Activision game. It's an Activision game, right?
Yeah, well, Blizzard, but yeah, Blizzard Activision.
Blizzard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be on Games Pass for free next year.
Sure will.
Speaking of Games Pass, this would be a perfect game for Games Pass. Coming out October 11th, No More Heroes 3 is no longer Switch exclusive. It comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, One, and PC.
It is released from the shackles of the Nintendo Switch.
Then we got October 14th. We have Dragon Ball The Breakers. I actually forgot about this game. I don't even know what type of Dragon Ball game this is.
Yeah.
But this is coming out on everything: PS5, 4, Xbox Series X, or Xbox One, the Switch, and PC. And we got a couple of sports titles. I got to get this out the way. NHL 23 for all the hockey fans out there, coming out for everything. Doesn't list PC, but I'm sure it will come to PC at some point, right? Like that's all the sports games. All the sports games do. And then we got PGA Tour 2K23 coming out on everything except for, the NHL and PGA Tour not coming to Switch. Doesn't list PC, but I'm sure it will be there. But it's coming out on all the other consoles: PS4, Series X, and One, October 14th.
It's still weird to me to not see Tiger Woods attached to. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
I'm looking at the cover of 2K23, and Tiger Woods is on the cover.
As you were saying that, I was like, I know he's looking this up and he'll correct himself. I don't need to correct him.
I thought this was EA's offering, because I know they rebranded it, but I think that's with Rory McIlroy, if he's even still doing it. Wow. Okay, so they did get Tiger back. Okay, just on the 2K game. That's funny.
Also coming out October 14th, Xbox exclusive. Well, console exclusive. It is coming out on PC, and that's Scorn coming out on Xbox Series X.
Scorn, baby.
A game. I think that they said this is going to be on Games Pass, coming out October from Plague Tale Requiem, coming out for PS5. It's a next gen game only, apparently, coming out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S. I think it's Games Pass too. I think they advertise it for Games Pass. Switch and right. PC. Switch and PC. Also, no Stadia. Uncharted Legacy Thieves Collection coming out on PC October 19th. A game that I can't wait to get, which is Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Switch October 20th. The next day, we got a big day. We got Gotham Knights out PS5, Xbox Series X, NX, NS, and PC. We talked about it on the show. This is current gen only. They won't support PS4 or Xbox One. They just couldn't. And I'm sure they looked at Cyberpunk and said, "We don't want to open up the can of worms. Let's just can last gen and stick to
yeah. If you're having technical difficulties with it, you kind of just have to back it up a little bit." And they were able to do that, I think, fairly successfully. I don't think there was a ton of blowback about it. So, is this going to be a day one purchase for you? This Gotham Knights, yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
100%. The only I need to debate is what platform I'm gonna get it on. I think I'll get it for the
PC, right? You're gonna get it on PC.
No. Because I think I'm gonna get another game on PlayStation. We'll talk about that in 2 seconds. The new Tales from the Borderlands coming out the same day, October 21st, for PS5, Series X, Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Then we got a week later. It's a big. Oh man, this is actually a big day. October 28th, Bayonetta 3 comes out on the Switch. That's
finally.
That's a day one purchase for me.
This goes all the way back to what was it? The Game Awards, maybe 2018, when they had Reggie up on stage, and he announced Bayonetta 1 and 2 in the combo pack, and then teased Bayonetta 3. Finally, 4 years later, we now have it. It's crazy.
In the same day, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, not to be confused with the other Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that came out like years ago. This new one coming out of PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. This is what I'll be getting on the PlayStation.
This is the remake of the old one, or is this a brand new Modern Warfare?
This is a brand new Modern Warfare Part 2.
I hate when they do shit like this. Don't put a colon and call it something else. Call it Modern Warfare 5. Jesus,
I just want to know.
4,
I just want to know. I just want to know for Christmas, where the kid says, "Mom, I want Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2," and she says, "Do I spend $70 on this game, or do I get him the other Modern Warfare 2 that's like $10? I'm gonna give him the $10 one.
It's gonna be like $2 because it's I don't think they're making new anymore."
So we got, the same day, we got Resident Evil Village coming out on the Switch cloud service only. It's the only way you're gonna be able to play this on the Switch. And Resident Evil Village Winter Expansion that comes out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PC, and Stadia. And that may be the last time I say that.
Jesus, that's really funny. I think they're only doing that because Village was already on Stadia, the original Village Part 8. So they're like, might as well put the expansion on there.
Well, I got a asterisk next to this, and we'll talk about this when we come back and get into the news. But I got a little asterisk on this. I will say, I got to put 2 asterisks on this because Resident Evil Village, the cloud service on the Switch, was announced at the Nintendo Direct a couple of weeks ago, which we missed that week. We didn't record that week because you were sick. We will talk about that later in the show. So I figured I would just mention that because we're not going to talk about everything that happened at the Direct, just for time purposes. We have like 2-3 weeks worth of stuff to cram into the show. Right. So
and
announced.
Just for clarification, the streaming version is worldwide, because I know previously they had locked it to Japan only for technical infrastructure reasons.
No, if I believe the Ubisoft games were
Assassin's Creed and all that, those were region locked?
Those were Japan only, I believe.
Okay. I thought Resident Evil was also just streaming in Japan because of their infrastructure. They were able to support it.
But we had Control here. Remember? That was streaming as well. That was one of them,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it worked. They give you, I think, 10, 15, they give you like 15 minutes to play the game.
Yeah, to try it out.
To see if you have the capacity to stream it, and then afterwards you got to pay for it. So it was the same thing for Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, that's super smart. That's super smart.
But you know, if you, it's the future, man. This could be the future. You know, cloud gaming, right?
Sure.
I mean, did you not see the Logitech, the big Logitech handheld console, and then we have the Razer, Razers coming out with
There's a
in
Razer
collaboration
one
with
too.
Verizon, right?
Yeah,
Like, we'll
people
talk about
were
that.
people were really taking a dump on the Logitech one. I don't know the specs. We don't know anything about the Razer one other than that it's a streaming console just like the Logitech one. But comparatively, between the Logitech one and the Steam Deck, buy yourself a Steam Deck, right? It's easily the better way to go. It's really good.
Right.
Like everybody I know has one. I've gotten to play it, and it feels really good. The performance is great. The size is, I mean, it's a little bit big, but considering the amount of power you get out of it and what you can play with it, totally worth it.
That's what she said.
Ayo. I got to get you a
All
little like drum kit. You can do the rim shot at the back.
All right. So, all right. So I did mention that there was a huge game coming out in 2022 that got yet again delayed, and that is Skull and Bones. This is the 5th delay, apparently, for Skull and Bones. This was supposed to come out the day of Sonic Frontiers and the day before God of War next month in November.
Well, this is also the game that got fully reworked. They completely changed course on it. Redid this game, I'm going to say almost from the ground up, if not totally from the ground up. And it's a game as a service. It's always going to be...
This is Anthem in a boat. That's what it is.
Yeah. I look, I'm happy for Ubisoft. I bet fans will like it. Whatever. Doesn't feel like the game for me. It feels very too microtransaction-y, too kind of repetitive, doing the same stuff over and over again. It visually it looks nice. I'm sure they put a lot of work into it. They're putting another coat of paint, some more polish on it to kind of tighten the screws up. And I get that, and I think this is a good idea because you really only get one chance. If you're Square Enix and you're Final Fantasy XIV, you get 2 chances because they fucked up the first time with Final Fantasy XIV, and then they took a bunch of time, reworked it, re-released it, and now it's an amazing game. But most companies don't get that chance, so Skull and Bones has to be good out the gate, and then it can kind of build up an audience, right? Anthem was terrible at the gate, and it just flopped. So this is kind of their one shot. So,
all right. So, I honestly think, I mean, now it's coming out in March, right? I think they don't want to compete with Call of Duty coming out at the end of October, right?
It's a big property.
You got not Bayonetta, but you got Gotham Knights.
Sure.
That's a co-op game too, right?
Sure.
Like online multiplayer game as well. You can play by yourself, but you can play it multiplayer. They are advertising it as multiplayer, right? So you got that. That's both of those are coming out at the end of October. So you have to contend with that. You're sandwiched in between those two games. The same day it's coming out as Sonic Frontiers, which is getting good previews as of right now, right? And then you may have a game that's in contention of Game of the Year coming out the next day, which is God of War.
Yeah.
So you could get lost in that news cycle, right? Like you can get really lost because you have a lot of big games, and then I know we talked about this off air. Is like what if they come out and when they just push it to December? Or you got Callisto Protocol coming out in December, and you got another I can't think of it. It's an RPG that's coming out in December as well. I can't think of it.
The Xenoblade. Is that the new Xenoblade?
I don't know if it's a new Xenoblade. I know there's something else coming out in December. And that's not a time you really want to put out like this type of game, right? So I understand they want to put out in spring. So I can understand that, and I kind of agree with that because I mean we made fun of it on the show. It was like, Dave, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get Sonic Frontiers. You're gonna get Skull and Bones. You're gonna play You're gonna play God of War. You're gonna play Skull and Bones.
No, doesn't matter when Skull and Bones is coming out. I'm not gonna get it. But for people who are on the fence, yeah, you don't want to be like Titanfall, right? We had this argument or discussion, I guess, and we were kind of both in agreement. You put a first-person shooter in between Battlefield and Call of Duty, 2 well-established game franchises. You got an uphill battle to deal with. It's just not, yeah.
Well, a game that we both, I think, are all about and going to get the physical edition at least, and that's Cuphead. It's finally getting a physical release that they promised us 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I think, on its 5th anniversary on I Am 8-Bit. And I thought the interesting part is we're getting the Xbox One, right? I'm putting in quotation marks because obviously it works on the Series X, but I hate when it has that Xbox One box art. Like, just make it Xbox, as of right now.
That was that was the problem with the PS3 when they changed up their box design halfway through, right?
I know.
And it's like, wow, now you got them all mixed up, right? You can't really do them in alphabetical order.
Then you have, and it's coming out on the Switch, but then it's coming out on PS4. And to the best of my knowledge, this game has not come out on PlayStation, PlayStation platforms.
That's right.
So I'm not going to lie. I think that has a DLC in it because that was the whole reason why they delayed the physical release, because they wanted to have the DLC in it. I may have to get the PS4 version because this could be, an anomaly one day, later going down the line.
I mean, I don't know about that.
No, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, hedging your bets like you're gonna get. I mean, it could end up being worth a lot of money, right? Because it's a game that. It came out on Microsoft exclusively from MDHR. I believe it's the only game that they've put out. They spent a lot of time on it.
It's the only game. Yeah. It is the only game they put out.
They definitely put a lot of time onto it. And I'm actually not sure if Microsoft funded this. I wasn't able to find anything definitive on this, but I know they were kind of fostering it in a way and saying, hey, put it out on our platform.
I know people were like, oh, Microsoft was putting games out on the Switch. Not really. I mean, Ori and Cuphead are first-party studios or third-party, right? That's like, think of Quantic Dreams, right? They've only put games out on PlayStation, but they've recently said that, they're going to start putting games out on all platforms, right?
Right.
So it's the same. It's sort of the same thing that, I think maybe Microsoft had a hand in helping funding it, but they don't own the IP. Those are third-party studios, and they allowed them to make money and put it out on other platforms.
Right, right. So, sometimes you get exclusivity stuff with, Street Fighter V or Death Stranding, right? Street Fighter V, Sony helped fund that, and Death Stranding, Sony helped fund that, and they said, but it has to be on our systems only, at least console-wise. Yeah,
console-wise. Because you can play Death Stranding on Games Pass on PC.
Right. Which is great. You want to get people the most access to your games for sure. So I definitely commend that.
So Dave, I haven't said this in over. I feel like it's been ages.
Mm-hmm.
As we always try to start the show, but epically fail.
Oh,
what have you been playing?
Oh my God, Dan, I am at the end of my Dragon Quest XI journey.
Okay.
Now, I didn't say that I beat it. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm at the actual final boss, Colossimos. That dude is super funny. And 2, he is tough as nails. Because I've got over 180 hours in this game. Let that sink in. 180 hours.
That's
over
hours.
That's over 4. That's like 4.5 full weeks of constant playing this game. There is so much.
Wait. Let me just average this out. Okay. 180 hours is like beating The Last of Us Part 2 6 times.
I mean, at least, yeah.
Well,
it's crazy.
Depending on what you do, 23 to 25 hours. So I'm just gonna say 25.
Sure.
If you take your time, 25 hours. So that's like beating it 6.5 times.
Well, it's yeah. So
and I think The Last of Us Part 2 is long.
So it's really interesting because when you get to the end of the game, spoilers for people who haven't necessarily gotten into it, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, you can kind of see that hey, doesn't seem like everything is complete. So you'll notice some of your characters aren't fully leveled up. You'll notice there's a lot of missing things when you go to look at your quest list, or when you see the bestiary or the whatever. You're oh, things are kind of missing. What's going on? And I'm it's getting towards the end of the game, That's the fake ending, and then it goes on, and then it immediately opens up that, oh, it's not really the ending, and then more of the game opens up, and then your like character's ability charts like balloon up, right? You get a ton more quests you can do. There's all post-game content, and then there's the true final boss, Cosmos, who this dude is like big and jacked, and you go into like the sky and you like fight him in space, but he's got this super cute face. Okay. It's like an emoji.
He's a monster's body with a super cute face.
Yeah, he's got like a little emoji face, and like you'll know why that's funny. It's just kind of funny on its own because the dude's like super jacked with a cute little like kid face, little like emoji face. It's so funny, but he will just beat the crap out of you. It's just like fist, flame, and you're like, boom, party is like wiped out, and I'm like. I was like dragging it out. I was doing all the side quests. I was leveling up the characters to the max level, getting all the special weapons and armor and crafting all the stuff. I'm like, I'm going to wipe the floor with this dude. I am apparently under-leveled to fight this guy. So I have to put a little more work in, but I'm at the end. I'm ready to beat the game. So very, very excited. So
all right.
How about you, Dan? What have you been playing?
So I've been playing a little bit of Splatoon 3.
Mm-hmm.
Got back to that. It's an awesome game. I like I love, I mean, I haven't talked about it since I first played it, but I love the way they do the tutorial. The tutorial is sort of like the first little world, or you have like maybe 3 or 4 levels and a boss battle. And then it's like, no, that's the tutorial. Then you see the Splatoon thing come on.
It's cold open. Yeah, it's like, cold open.
Yeah. And then it's like, no, that was nothing. I thought that was something that's nothing. Look at what you have to do now.
Yeah, so, there you go. There you go. It's very much like the end of Dragon Quest. They like kick the door down and they're like, nope. Here's the real game.
I played a little bit of Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PS5 because
so good. I love that game. I go back and play that on the regular. It's so good.
I have the physical for the PS4, right? For Limited Run that came in. I beat also another game from Limited Run. I beat Final Vendetta on the Switch, which is
nice.
It's a beat 'em up. It's sort of in the vein of Streets of Rage.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty easy. You can beat it in like 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing with fighting games. They're over, or brawlers, I should say. They're over very quickly, and it's hard to like extend it out because if you like have 100 levels. You're just beating up guys over and over again for the 100 levels. It's hard to put variety in there, you know?
Yeah.
So they kind of have to be of a certain size, but.
And I know you're going to love this. I finally beat The Last of Us, the original. I beat part 1.
I can't believe you didn't beat it.
I never
didn't beat it.
Well, I didn't put this on the notes because the notes of what we've been playing is kind of old from like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I also beat the Ellie expansion.
The DLC. That was really good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. So I want to say the DLC was fun. It was I had more fun with the DLC because when you beat the game, you get sort of like you open it up to you get like unlimited ammo, unlimited everything.
You get all the
unlimited
cheats.
Everything.
Yeah.
All the cheats. So I didn't want to play the game over again. So I played the DLC with all the cheats, and it was like super like awesome. I didn't have to worry about sneaking around. Well, you did have to sneak around somewhat because you get unlimited health. But you have, but you can still die.
Right. If you get shocked in the water or whatever, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you keep getting bit or whatever. You keep getting shot in general. Like your health can go. So you get unlimited health packs. But you don't get unlimited. Like you still die. So I didn't have to sneak around as much, right? Because I had unlimited ammo, and so it was pretty cool just to sort of play The Last of Us as like I would play Call of Duty, kind of, right?
Right.
Unlimited ammo. So that was pretty fun. I'm with you about the price. I'm not going to spend too much time on it.
We don't have to get back into it. We don't have to get back into it.
But but the game is amazing. It plays like The Last of Us Part 2.
Sure.
It looks a lot better than the remastered version on the
Sure.
PS4. It does.
Sure.
It looks amazing. So, but I'm pretty. I love the series, and happy I got to actually be Joel when he made that. I don't want to say terrible decision. Some people could say terrible decision at the end, but I finally get it. Like I get that emotional.
Well, yeah,
I knew what was happening. I knew what was going to happen.
It's a hard decision, you know.
I know. I knew it was going to happen, but it still hit me because I did it.
See, they basically gave you the trolley problem, right? Where it's like it's the philosophical question, right? You have a trolley, and there's a switch on the track, and you can make it go left or right. And on the left-hand side is one person tied to the train tracks, and on the right-hand side is 5 people on the train tracks, and you can't stop it, but you can redirect it. Which way do you turn it? All right, everyone goes, well, you go with the one, the least like impact. And then the second question, they like build on it. And you can ask it a number of different ways and go, okay, on the left-hand side is your son. And on the right-hand side is like whatever, 5 people, 10 people or whatever. Then it becomes tough and you're, well, shit, you know.
Another train with 100 people in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like objectively, you would say kill the one person, but now you're putting like emotional weight onto that random person who you now know, and it makes it, so it's like that kind of situation. But I thought it was cool. Yeah, it was a really good ending.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Since spoil. Well, I'm not gonna get too much into spoilers. I'm gonna say I'll talk.
It's an almost 10-year-old game at this point.
I know. When you beat it.
Yep.
Okay. When you beat it, you beat the remastered or you beat the original?
I beat the remaster on PS4.
Okay. At the end, did you kill all the doctors? Or just the one doctor?
I forget.
I killed all three.
Did you?
Screw it.
I honestly forget. I don't remember what I did.
Well, you have to kill the one doctor. We know that.
Right.
There are 2 other doctors in there. Did you kill? I just want to know if you killed them.
I don't.
Because you don't have to.
I don't think I did because it was like no. I don't think I did. Playing it now, I probably wouldn't. Because there's like the doctors are just. They're looking out for humanity. They're kind of doing what they need to do.
If I can go back, I wouldn't kill the other 2.
Now,
I thought I had to. I thought.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's a different story. You're like, you thought the game was forcing you to kill everybody, which kind of makes sense. Yeah, but
yeah, I didn't because they like cowered down, and I didn't know if they would like get up and try to shoot me. So
sure.
Like, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Let me get this out the way now.
Yeah.
But if I can go back, I would just run through it and not do anything to it.
Okay.
Not do anything to the other 2 doctors.
Right.
All right. On that note, let's take a break. And when we come back, we're getting into the top gaming news of the last few weeks. And we're back. Dave, let's get into the top video game news of the last few weeks. Let's start with big news of Stadia. It is shutting down officially. Google has officially said that they are shutting down Stadia. Users are losing access to games. They've already shut down the Google, the Stadia store. You cannot buy any new games. And they
which is good.
Which is good. They're I forgot to put down in the notes what day they're shutting down. I think it's definitely in January. I think it was like January 13th or 12th or something like that. So it's definitely shutting down in mid-January, and they will officially give refunds if anybody brought like hardware in games. They're giving. I know it's definitely hardware in games. The only thing they're not going to refund is if you brought the premium service.
The like subscription fee thing or whatever.
Yeah. But they'll give you a refund on the hardware.
Right, and I'm glad that they're doing that, and on the games too. That's really the right move. Not to say that any company would be beholden to doing that, but it's kind of I've said it before. when you buy into an ecosystem, you have some sort of thought or understanding, or there's some sort of agreement between you and the company that like, oh, the service is going to be around for a while. I'm going to dump some money into it because you guys have products for sale that I can feasibly use in your game and maybe other games for a little while. And when games get pulled like way too early, 9 times out of 10, your money's gone. Your items are gone. They're non-transferable. You can't use them. And the company's like, whatever. At least Google's doing the right thing.
The last day is January 18th.
Okay. Okay.
Stadia will be around.
Okay. Now, I praise them in that respect, but apparently none of the developers knew that this was going to happen. So this came down from up on high, and the team, which is being like reshuffled around and whatnot, and moving on to different parts of Google or Alphabet or whatever, but they didn't know that it was shutting down. Well, they found out when the announcement happened.
Well, I said which is kind of the people who worked on Stadia didn't know, and the devs who were developing games for Stadia also didn't know. I mean, it was a shock to everybody. There were indie games out there that apparently, rewind. Apparently, the devs are making a lot of money on Stadia, and there were some indie devs that they said that their lifeblood was getting Stadia, but now that's
it had the best revenue share. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're in their indie games. Apparently, there was one indie game. I was listening to a podcast. I don't know. It was one of the IGN podcasts. I think it was Game Scoop. Not too sure. It was like an indie developer who was developing the game for Stadia, specifically for Stadia. And now that game will never come out on Stadia. He's gonna have to focus somewhere else. So that's crazy. I mean, what would you rather them do? I would rather than put out a internal memo that would get leaked and everybody would know anyway. I mean, they would want to tell the public before anybody working there tell the public. They wouldn't want some team member.
No, you always treat your employees right. You can't do that. Employees sign NDAs, employees sign agreements, contracts, whatever. So there's penalty if you do leak anything, and I mean we'll get into that in another story.
I'm sure some of them are losing it. I'm sure somebody's losing their job, right? Or somebody's going to quit. So,
I'm sure a lot of people are leaving. I mean, if people haven't left already, because it's totally mismanaged. But no matter what, you tell your team first, and you prepare your team. You don't just uproot them and whatever. I mean, I think ultimately they'll be okay because Google is a big company. These guys are smart. The devs are good. They're flexible. They'll just be moved to different parts of the company, or maybe they'll leave. They'll be like, I want to work on something else. I like working on this game product or whatever it is, this game service thing. I want to maybe do something else. Maybe they'll go somewhere else. But you can't make it a surprise like that. You can't.
I mean, the writing should have been on the wall. I mean, they shut down their first-party studios. They weren't really getting in.
Oh no, of course, but still, right? you still got to tell your team first. I mean, you have to treat them with a little bit of respect, because like if I came into like work on Monday and they're like, "Step into our office. We have something to tell you," and this just kind of like came out of the blue, I'd be like, "Whoa, hey, whoa," It's.
I'm not saying you wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying you can be shocked. I would say, bring the team together, tell them the bad news, and then maybe like a couple of hours later or something like that, announce it to publicly.
Oh, I would say a couple of days at least, or whatever.
No, because then you want to, as a company, control the narrative, and then some ultimately, especially if they're going to lose their job or they know they're leaving, they're going to leak this. And then,
well, I don't think anyone's losing their job. They're just moving to because they're just closing down that division. So they're moving them to different departments.
Maybe someone's patent will leave because they really want to work in gaming and they don't want to work in another department or something like that. I don't know. I think you want to control the narrative. You always run the risk of leaks, which we'll talk about leaks a little bit later.
Well, I mean, you run the risk of a leak working on any entertainment property or whatever. Just by virtue of working on it. you were in the bit and you have things, but you signed agreements to say, hey, don't do this thing. So you know.
So I did put an asterisk early games that are coming out this month about Resident Evil Village, the expansion. They did have it listed coming out on Stadia. Now, again, I pulled these listings before the announcement of Stadia shutting down, right? So will the expansion still come to Stadia October 28th? I don't know. Who knows? It may not.
Yeah, because I don't even think Capcom knew about it. So, yeah. And it is it even worth? Because nobody's gonna buy it. No one's gonna. The expansion's not free, right? You have to pay for it.
Oh, you can't buy it, right? Because the Stadia.
Oh yeah. So it's definitely not coming out. Because Capcom's just not gonna put it up there in Goodwill for free.
It would have come out on Stadia, but it's not.
Right.
That would have been Stadia release. Yeah.
So Capcom is even like, what the hell, you know?
So it's a good listen. The technology is good. I think it was just sort of mishandled, right? Mismanaged.
Oh, it was very much mishandled.
Google,
and it was a little bit before its
time. Rushed to market.
A little bit. Yeah, it wasn't quite ready at the time. And I don't think people were also ready to make the jump to not even just all digital, but all streaming, right? Because you got to have a really good internet connection to get the best experience out of it, which not everybody has necessarily. Not everybody has, like, you know, the setup. Well, I guess you could play it on anything. You could play it on a TV, I guess, if you wanted to. But, people just weren't ready for it, you know? And they've been trying this. They've been trying this for the last 20, 30 years almost. 20 years. Started with OnLive. OnLive was the first service I remember.
I remember OnLive.
It was just a little box. You hooked it up with your Ethernet connection. Had HDMI out, and it had a little Bluetooth connected controller. And they're like, you could stream games and play them, and it was great. And it wasn't so great. They folded pretty quickly. So.
No, I remember OnLive.
Yeah.
I feel old now.
Right.
OnLive was a long time ago.
And I thought Stadia was like, okay, the world is ready for it now. The technology has gone up there.
Then you had
people understand.
You had Sony bought Gaikai, came PlayStation Now, and all Sony televisions used to have PlayStation Now on it. So if you had a controller, and you can stream games on any TV, it didn't matter. And I still think that's a great idea, and I think they still will do that, right?
Well, they ended up shutting that down too, right? Like, that's not a thing anymore.
You know what? It ended up not being on the TVs, but you still had PlayStation Now, and you could still now stream games on PlayStation Premium. I was actually streaming that Ratchet and Clank game that didn't get a physical release in North America, and I was streaming that over. I was streaming that over the summer because I didn't know if I wanted to do it for Saturday Morning Retro or not. I didn't finish it, and I just ended up not using it for Saturday Morning Retro, which I still may go back to it. And then Microsoft, you could stream games on Microsoft as well.
Microsoft has their cloud gaming, and they're like still putting money into it. You know, it's definitely gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. You know, that's the whole thing about it.
I'm gonna miss doing the segment at the end of each month saying these are the most notable games coming out next month, and saying on everything except for Stadia. If you know, there's a problem when they're putting it on a PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch, and it's not coming to Stadia, right? And one of Stadia. Bad.
You can still say it's not coming to Stadia. That fact will not change.
Well, I said it because I'm picked them up at Google, so it could come to Stadia. But one of Stadia's biggest problems is they didn't have any Stadia only like exclusives. And one of the things that came out of Stadia shutting down is Kojima actually approached Stadia about doing not necessarily a sequel to Death Stranding, but another game sort of in a Death Stranding world. You know how Control and Alan Wake are in the same world, but they're two different games, right?
Yep.
So it could have been something like that. And Stadia sort of passed on it because it would have been a Stadia exclusive. Stadia passed on it because they didn't see the value in having a single player game on their streaming service, right? And now this game going, because he wanted to do something with the cloud. He wanted to do an interesting concept with like sort of streaming in a cloud service. This game is what Microsoft was now going to be on Microsoft, right?
Right.
This is the Kojima game with Microsoft. That could have been Stadia.
Now I'm really confused because they're like, we don't want it to be single player. Oh, well, we want it to be multiplayer. And he's like, no, it's single player, but it's got all this cloud connected stuff. So I wonder. And I guess maybe it's kind of like what they did with Death Stranding, where the connected part was if you connected it up, you could use other people's contraptions in the world. So if somebody built a bridge over this like creek or whatever, it could show up in your world and you're like, oh shoot, somebody else made this thing, I can go ahead and use it. You would never see anybody, but you would see the remnants of like what they did and where they were by like the stuff that they built. So yeah, it's probably something like that.
Imagine if he's doing like a horror game and it's like, somebody left you extra ammo or left you a jetty somewhere and you can use it. All right. Like,
yeah.
That because all the reports say he's working on a horror game. Now he could be working on multiple projects. And one is a horror project, maybe a film or game or short or demo or some kind.
Death Stranding technically is a horror game. I mean, it gets real dark.
No, I'm just saying that he all the reports said he was working on a horror game, and then he went to work on something where had something to do with streaming in the cloud.
Yeah. That could be like kind of cool, like dropping off packages for you before you fight a big monster, Like this could have been a Stadia. If it was interesting, let's just say if it was Death Stranding, right? People would flock to it. People would come to play the next Kojima game, and it's only on Stadia. I would even think about even going on Stadia and trying it out. Right. So this was a big misstep. Yeah, I mean, if you have like a killer app, that'll definitely bring everybody over, for sure.
I just want to say, I think they put it out quickly. They thought maybe, hey, like 2 years and we can get something going. And games take more than, especially good games, like big budget exclusive games take more than 2 years, right?
Sure.
At 4 years, a 4-year cycle of some kind, right? And especially when you have a brand new studio.
They did get one game out. They did get one game out called Gylt, Gylt. But that game is shutting down, and everybody's microtransaction purchases in there are done. But that was it. They had the one game that they ended up putting out, and it just wasn't that great, apparently.
I'm just, I guess I'll always be right. It's coming to everything except for Stadia.
Yep.
Because that will.
It's very funny.
All right. Next big thing in the news is the GTA 6 leak. I told you we were going to talk about leaks later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
This was a big thing. Rockstar, they don't really have leaks because they're different, right? They don't show their games at E3. At least they haven't shown their games at E3 in a long time, right? And they're all their GTA games since the PS2 era have been huge.
Oh yeah, they're monumental releases. I mean, every time they come out with a new game, it's like it's an event.
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting how they were hacked and something early footage of the game, early test footage of the game was released, and it's kind of weird that people think, oh, this looks terrible, right? And yeah, it does look terrible. You know why? Because it's not indicative of the final product. It is the behind the scenes, the making of a game. It is,
well, yeah.
What was the guy that's in charge of the president of Amazon gaming division? Right? Didn't he walk in when they had a meeting and they showed him a game? We talked about it in the show and they showed him a game. He was like, "This looks terrible."
Yeah.
They were like, "Yeah,
this is development footage.
This is development footage. This is
not
indicative of the final product."
I could see someone. I don't like it. I could see someone who's not in the gaming world. You'd have to really temper their expectations, right? You have to go in knowing, okay, this is what I'm going to see, right? This is highly in development footage. This is debug test footage or whatever. Like, this is kind of an idea. Give you an idea, whet your palate a little bit. This is what we're getting into. So apparently like 90 gigs of stuff was taken off of their Slack and Confluence servers. This guy managed to get in there and get that stuff. So Security, not so great over at Rockstar. I'm sure they're gonna overhaul everything, but yeah, it was wild to talk about people's comments about it. Everybody was like, "Wow, this looks terrible. The new GTA game looks like shit."
Wrong, and they're not wrong, It does look terrible.
Well,
it's not indicative of the final game.
It's
terrible.
Yeah, it's still in development. It's not that it looks bad. It's that it's not done yet. Yeah, they just didn't realize about it. The thing about that, I mean, one, that was amazing. There's probably going to be my favorite tweet for a long while, because somebody who commented about it said graphics are the first thing to be done in a video game, which is quantifiably not true. No, graphics are going up until the end, right? Because you gotta you build out rudimentary models. You get a game engine up. You put some guys in the world and you start prototyping. All right, what is our game going to be like? Let's get a working model, and then you start iterating over it and building on it. And once you get a concept down, and then you get some core mechanics in, then you can start doing the level design and planning things out, getting your art team together and putting all this stuff together. And that takes a long ass time to do, And so after somebody put that tweet out, a ton of devs, the Naughty Dog and the guys who did Cult of Lamb and a couple other devs, were memeing on this guy, and they're like, yeah, graphics are the first thing to be done in a game. And there was raw footage of Uncharted and raw footage of Cult of Lamb and a bunch of other games. And it was, it was great. All of these companies came together and yeah, graphics are the first thing to be done in a game, which is quantifiably not true. So,
I love seeing Nathan Drake run on looks like a piece of paper. Right?
Yeah, no, there's no textures. It's all brown, right? Yeah, it's wild because this guy's already apprehended. They found the guy. He was in the UK, so he is in, I guess, custody. Right? He's gonna get the book thrown at him. He's definitely getting jail time. Because apparently this guy also hacked into Uber as well.
Oh, it's the same guy? I didn't know that.
Apparently. I believe he has claimed responsibility for the Uber hack as well. This teapot Uber hacker or whatever his name is, right? So it's wild. I didn't figure out how he got into the Slack and the Confluence servers, but he did. So that's, it's a bit of a security flaw. Not to say what this guy did was right by any means, but there's definitely a security flaw that you can
I'm sure Star is going to sort of, tie up those loose ends.
No, I mean, they better. I mean, you kind of have to at this point, right? It should have never came to that. You should have had good security policies in place, but hot damn. So yeah, I don't know how long you get for something like this. I don't know how many years. I'm assuming it's going to be a year.
This is a felony offense, so he's getting more than a year.
Yeah,
not to mention
crazy.
If he hacked Uber, Rockstar, right? So two different charges, two different
right.
cases.
So you just kind of add on to how much time he's doing. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think with hacker, I could be wrong. I don't know this for a fact, but you get no computer access in jail. You get zero computer access.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So. I guess the good thing about it though, because we got to see some footage, right? So we know that I believe it's a Bonnie and Clyde setup. So it's a man and a woman.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at any of it.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what was leaked. I never saw it.
I saw
it, and I didn't read any of the kind of plot spoilers, which we don't know. There's
no spoiling of the plot. It's just, here's what the game is, right? It's basically the back of the box stuff. But the thing that I saw was they were doing a restaurant heist, I guess, maybe, or a restaurant shootout. So you saw I think it was the girl running around and sneaking behind the little booths and whatever else and shooting and all that. And like it looked like kind of rough, but like you could get the idea of it. It is going to be set in Vice City. It's going to be even bigger than GTA 5 in terms of the scope. They have the 2 characters, which I'm assuming you're going to like switch between the 2 like you did in 5 with like the 3 guys, Trevor, Michael, and I forgot who the 3rd guy is, but anyway. So it looked like it looked kind of cool. It was very promising. It was cool to see the behind the scenes, but it was very much like debug mode, still development testing footage. There was a lot of characters that were just like gray models. They barely had any shading on them. All right. Everything was like super rough. But like the bones are there. The game is going to be amazing when it comes out. I can guarantee you that. But so I mean that's about all I saw. There's like 90 gigs of stuff that's out there, and you can definitely find it if you want to find it.
And I can't wait to play it on my PlayStation 6 because that's
I mean it's definitely not 2023. I would say 2024, maybe 2025.
No way. This is maybe 2025 and beyond.
Well, it depends on when they started working on it, right? Because everything that you see here, I mean, he got a lot of stuff. He didn't get everything.
They worked on a Cyberpunk before the PS4 came out. Okay, all right. So it took like 10 years to make that game.
Well, I know, but I mean, like, when did they start working on GTA 6? It could have been right after GTA 5. They could have had a small team and they keep building it up, right? Because that's what they did with Red Dead. Red Dead started work essentially right after Red Dead 1 was dead. They were conceptualizing it. They didn't start like developing, but they were like, all right, how are we going to make a sequel? So I don't know. Maybe it's even further out. It's done when it's done because Rockstar is like Blizzard. They take their time with their games and they always knock it out of the park for the most part.
I'll tell you why they ain't no rush. Because GTA 5 still sells. And GTA Online is still making a killing.
Oh, it sure does. It sure does. You're right.
They have no rush. They have no rush.
You're right.
No rush to put this game out.
Well, now also too, like, if I know companies in general, when they get stuff like this that gets put out there, they're looking at this very negatively, right? They're getting a lot of negative press and whatever else. They had to put a statement out about what happened and all that. It's not great for them. And now that all this stuff is out there, and people were saying like, oh, look at how bad this looks and whatnot. Now the bar has been raised a little bit more because we've already got an initial impression of this game, which is wrong because it's not an initial impression. It's development footage, right? It's like somebody walked in on you in college and you just spent 5 minutes writing your opening paragraph to your senior thesis. And I'm like, this is trash. I'm like, yeah, I only spent 5 minutes on it, right? You only saw like, some kind of raw stuff in there. So I think that also may push things back a little bit, sadly. But I mean, I hope not. I want to put the game out when it's ready. Oh, of course.
I don't care if it's the end of the PS. It's going to be the end of the PS5 life cycle and the beginning of PS6. That's what I think. That's my prediction.
All right. Well, they need something because the Red Dead Online, they don't give a shit about it.
I'm sure they don't.
I mean, they should. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, great game. The online thing, I messed around with it a little bit, but they're like, nah, we're just gonna do GTA stuff. So,
all right. Well, you know who doesn't have to worry about it? Nintendo, because you can't get any of these games on Nintendo systems.
That's right.
So, with that said, let's talk about the Nintendo Direct that was like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was, again, like I said, we're not doing the show that we really wanted to do because we had to cram in 2-3 weeks worth of stuff into this show. So a lot of stuff from the Tokyo Game Shows, the PlayStation State of Play, Xbox's showcase, and the Nintendo Direct. We're going to cut a lot of stuff, and we're just going to talk about the main meat and potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start the Nintendo Direct off with the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or as Dave called it, Breast of the Wild.
That was you, man. Go back to episode 40 and take a listen.
That was all you.
I like how you revision this, but okay. Keep going.
I will say, I really wanted them to name Breath of the Wild 2 so we could get the first numbered sequel in The Legend of Zelda since The Legend of Zelda 2.
On the NES, there's zero precedent other than the second Legend of Zelda, which was Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link.
And I wanted the second Breath of the Wild because they did sort of call it the Breath of the Wild 2, which was
they were like outlets were dubbing it Breath of the Wild 2 because it's a continuation. 2. But yeah, no, they've like never done that.
So now we have an official name for it and a release date, which was surprising. It is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and it's coming out May 12th, 2020.
Yeah, that's like right at the start of summer, right? Right when it starts getting nice outside. And the Switch is portable, so you can take that baby outside, run around with it. Oh, it's going to be a good time. Very excited.
Some people thought a new Switch would come out. Or they would launch this with a new Switch. I don't think they're going to launch a new Switch coming up in May. They would
have announced it now that there's a new model coming out. They would have announced
it now. Yeah. However, not necessarily, because remember when they announced the Switch? Didn't they announce the Switch? Because the Switch announcement was in January.
It was very late. Yeah, it was like post Christmas almost. Yeah.
It was in January, and then it got released. It got a release date of
March. Yeah. Right. Which was crazy. I was like, why are they waiting so long?
Technically, they could still, come out with a new Switch model or a new in general a new console, because
that's true. But
we assume it will be a Switch Lite console, right? Like it would be a handheld hybrid of some kind.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we already had the OLED. The OLED just came out, so. I don't think they're ready to put out a Switch Pro or a 2 or whatever. I would bet money on that. They're not. But
I will say we'll probably get a Metroid Prime 4 as a launch title for the new console. Right?
That may be. Yeah, that may be. That's definitely a ways off.
We've heard nothing about it.
That's another game that it'll be done when it's done. Yeah,
it'll be done when it's done. I know you're a big Metroid fan. I like Metroid. Can't wait for the fourth installment of it or the mainline series. But to hold you over, you get the fourth installment of Pikmin, because we knew it was done.
Yeah.
Miyamoto said it was done during the Wii U era. It was supposed to come out in the Wii U.
Yeah.
And they had to switch everything to the Switch. Switch everything to the Switch. So what we finally got sort of an announcement for it. So Pikmin 4 will finally come to the Switch in 2020.
Yeah. Well, this was all like ended. We're basically like flipping the show around. This was the end of the thing. They had Miyamoto come out. So he talked about Pikmin, and then one more thing, Breath of the Wild. So big ending, big splash, big ending. Excited for a new Pikmin. That's good. Series is always pretty solid. So good to see that coming out.
But they're going to start the year off with a new Fire Emblem game. Fire Emblem Engaged was announced in a new mainline game coming out January 20th.
This stars the OG hero Marth. He was in the original Famicom game. Is where Marth came from. And first,
was Marth not in the GameCube game?
No. He's been in a couple of games, I think. But I ended up looking it up because I had to get some clarity on it. He's from the OG Famicom one, and I guess more famously to North Americans, he was in Smash Brothers Melee. That was my first introduction to the Fire Emblem characters. Even though like Nintendo Power did a little bit of a expose on like the Japanese Famicom series, because it's been there since the Famicom days. But very, very, very excited for this. The last one was amazing. Fire Emblem Three Houses, very good game. Excited for Engage.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna lie. When they said Engage, I thought maybe
coming to the taco phone.
No, I thought when I first said Engage, I was like, my first mind was like, is this like a port from the Engage?
Yeah.
Put
the
it
taco
out
phone.
Engage?
Yeah.
Can't play games on those unless you have actual service or subscription or something like that, right? Like on the Engage, you had to have like a subscription.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it was like on Metal Jesus. Like Metal Jesus, he was playing with the Engage, and it was like, well, you need to have one that like had a service to actually use it.
Oh.
You don't have to have the service now, but it had to have phone service to actually play the game.
Right. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
And I remember, as a side note, I remember when the N-Gage came out.
Oh, sure.
I want that. I was like, I want that. I want that. And
you wanted a taco phone? You wanted a taco phone?
Taco phone. It was all the rate. It was the thing back in the day.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
People were memeing on it right away. Nobody wanted the taco phone.
It was.
It had a vertical screen. What console has ever had a vertical screen?
I'm sure there are other bullshit consoles. I mean, it was a bullshit console, the N-Gage.
It was a bullshit console. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
You could play Tomb Raider on it though.
You could. I think they had what was the racing game? They had a racing game. I can't think of it. Was it Burnout? I think it was Burnout.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, so a surprise. I was shocked at this. We got a sequel to Aquapath Traveler, and it's called Aquapath Traveler 2.
Was that like the big surprise? I can't believe they named it too.
Remember, it used to be called Project Octopath, right?
And
they called it Octopath Traveler.
Right.
It's coming out February 24th, 2023.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by the next announcement was GoldenEye 007 with online play exclusive to Nintendo Online service.
You were blown away by this? We knew this was coming for the longest.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. We talked about it all the time. How were you surprised?
We wished it would come, but we
rumor mill was strong with this one.
The rumor mill is strong every year with GoldenEye. We know.
No. For the past year, they've been talking about it.
No,
not surprised.
No, very surprised because the rights are held by Nintendo, Xbox, or Microsoft, and MGM, right? And it was all hard to get this game ported because
if there wasn't rumors about it, then I would be with you because I would understand that
they had a full remake done that never got put out.
Well, it wasn't authorized by I guess MGM or whatever. There was some issue with it at the time. That was 15, 16 years ago. That was on the original Xbox 360.
It was always rumors that we never talk about on the show. There's always rumors about GoldenEye coming, being ported, and
I don't know. This is fine. Look, it's cool that it's coming out. It's cool that it's coming out, but the caveat is that they're fixing some frame rate issues and whatever else, so it's going to be playable. Because if it was just the N64 version, like as is, without any performance boost, it'd be trash.
Well, I believe about this, but I believe we know the online play. You can only play online on Nintendo Online service,
right? So and that's the thing that they held. They held on to that exclusivity.
They probably said, "Hey, look, we're not gonna greenlight this unless you give us something exclusive to this and online play." It is. It will be on Games Pass. Microsoft did announce it'd be on Games Pass, but I think they had sort of the controls, so it works like modern, first-person shooter when it comes out. And I think graphically, it'll get a graphic bump if I'm not mistaken.
It's going to look better on the Xbox, yeah. And not to say that the Switch version couldn't look better, but Microsoft and Rare are kind of, I think they're taking some of the work that they did with the 360 version that got leaked, like last year or whatever, or maybe even this year, and they're kind of moving that over. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to try it.
But they did announce some other games. They did announce Mario Party, Pokemon Stadia, right? That are going to all come to N64 expansion pack. Well, Nintendo Online expansion pack.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised that we got Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. It will be released December 13th. It's coming this year. It's still coming this year. This is awesome.
Probably the last big title to come out this year.
Probably. I don't know when the Callisto Protocol is coming out. I think maybe December 9th. I could be wrong. But you're right. This could be the last big title. And then we'll round out everything. They did talk about Wave 3 of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Packs, right? Mm-hmm. With, tracks from Mario Kart Tour and Mario Kart DS. So I thought it was great I thought it was a great Nintendo Direct. They were very RPG heavy.
Well, that's a lot of the things we didn't talk about. Front Mission or all the farming games. There was a lot of weird stuff in there. There's a lot of farming sims.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Direct. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm surprised.
I got GoldenEye. I got we got a release date for the next Zelda game. We got Pikmin 4.
Yeah.
Right. And then Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, I like Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And now they're Square's remaking the PSP
Crisis Core is very actiony, so this will be right up your alley. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's shift gears and let's move to the Sony State of Play, which also I thought was very good. So we're not going to get into we're just going to get into the meat and potatoes. I'm going to get to everything they announced. We did get a full release sort of reveal for Tekken 8.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it was coming. It was announced that it was coming at EVO, but but it was just a logo. Like, think of Metroid Prime 4, just a logo, right? But now we got the full reveal with a cinematic trailer.
Yep.
So I knew Dave would be happy because he's a big Tekken fan. It's his favorite
Tekken's great. They gotta really fix their character models though. They're getting a little too brolic for my taste. I'm sorry. They're getting a little too wide in the waist.
All right, we're gonna put some skinny guys in there for you.
I mean, well, even like the skinny guys are like fat and brolic. Like they've just like they've made the models so like
skinny, fat and brolic. How are they skinny, fat and brolic? That's like an oxymoron.
They don't have thin models anymore. Like if you go back to the older ones, you go back to like maybe Tekken 5.
Maybe everybody in the Tekken universe is on steroids and they like to work out.
No, because they actually looked at, like, you go back to Tekken 5, Tekken 4, Tekken 3. You compare Tekken 3 to now. I know they're more simplistic models, but the characters were, and you still had big dudes. You had Jack, and you had like Heihachi. He's pretty muscly. You had guys with like that had different fits. So I don't know.
They did announce a God of War Ragnarok limited edition DualSense controller, which looks awesome. Mm-hmm. We had a new trailer, which I don't want to see anymore. I saw the trailer. I don't want to see any more. I'm hype. I want to buy this game. I can't wait to play it in November.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'm gonna condense a little bit of what Sega announced at the State of Play and what they announced at their own event.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time to go over Sega's event, so I'm just going to condense it a little bit. They did announce there'll be a new Yakuza game. It'll be 2 Yakuza games or 3 Yakuza games. There's a bunch of Yakuza games in the mix, but they are dropping the Yakuza name from the series and it's going to be now called Like a Dragon. So we know we're getting the spin-off, which is Yakuza's Like a Dragon Inshin, right? And that's coming out February 21st, and that's like you're back in time, like in feudal Japan. And then you get Like a Dragon Gaiden, which is I think 8. Yakuza 8, if I'm not mistaken. Or would be Yakuza 8.
They're making it very confusing. Why didn't they just... I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but yeah. I'm glad they're making more games.
But the big news was that they were dropping the Yakuza name. So it's like Super Mario Brothers not being called Super Mario Brothers anymore.
It's just World. It'd just be
Brothers.
World. The Brothers in World,
Brothers. Yeah. The Brothers. Like, Dave.
Well, they already have a Brothers game.
What was your favorite game of all time? Brothers 3?
Yeah, Brothers 3.
Yes.
I just don't know sometimes.
Well, and they have the spin-off, which is Judgment, right?
Right.
Judgment, Lost Judgment, and I'm sure they're going to have, probably another game that's called
which is why there was no reason to drop the Yakuza. Because now you don't know that it's in the same world, in the same timeline lineage of video games. So you don't know that like a Dragon Ishin is in the same universe as Yakuza Like a Dragon or Like a Dragon Gaiden, right?
They could have just had, sort of like it's the Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, right? They could have had Yakuza Like a Dragon Ishin, Yakuza. Right. Like a Dragon Gaiden, right? Like
or just Yakuza : Gaiden, right? Keep it simple. I mean,
yeah,
Anyway.
Sony did announce their PlayStation Star program, and it will start rolling out started rolling out last month in Japan, right at the end of September, and be coming out to the West soon. The Neo developer and now an open world samurai game called the Ronin, which everyone's hype about. I mean, Neo was sort of like a soul like game, samurai souls like game. It wasn't as tough as Souls. Apparently, it was pretty tough. I do have 1 and 2 on the PS4, and I did give it a shot. It's pretty tough, but definitely not Dark Souls tough.
Right.
Too much
Right.
is
It's manageable.
I don't know. Below. This press state of play was VR heavy, which we're gonna get into all the VR games they announced, but thing that didn't come out during the press conference that came out in general that week was the PlayStation VR 2 does have a major drawback that it is not backward compatible with PSVR 1 games. So if you want to play PSVR 1 games, you have to keep your old VR head because it's not going to be able to work on a new one, and it's because it's different technology. It's this thing from all the specs and what people got hands on, and people say this is amazing. It's like the best VR head they've seen, or this thing's gonna be like $500-$600.
I mean, it's supposed to be pretty damn beefy, but that's a pretty big hit because now you don't have the 100, 200, 300, 400 game installed base to choose from. Now you have to rely on all these new games because nobody's going to go back, buy the old games, buy the old headset and the whatever. No, they want one device. They're all going to look forward,
Well, remember we had a story this time last year where they said they want to have at least 60 launches, right? And there are rumors that
I'm aware.
Half-Life Alyx may be coming to PSV.
I mean, it's
we didn't
possible.
we didn't talk about the Star Wars game. We didn't talk about any of the other VR games that they announced that look pretty impressive that aren't just experience that they're actually.
Well, that's the thing. How many of those 60 games are just going to be like a fun experience that you just throw away and you're like, all right, I'm done. I did the thing. It's fine.
Well, I want to say
Horizon game, which is going to be a launch
game.
How long that is, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be max 8 to 10 hours and then you're out. I don't think it's going to be as long as the new Horizon game, Forbidden West or whatever it is. Because I don't think anyone's going to want to be in the headset for that long playing that, playing a game like that. It could be a lot. It could be a lot.
Okay, so to play devil advocate a little bit on this, a lot of, I want to say more than half of the library of PS1 games are just experiences, right? I think
they certainly are.
There are only a handful of actual games.
Oh no, I'm aware. Like for the first year, they were just experiences. But
I don't think you're gonna miss a lot. I don't think there's gonna be, I don't think you're gonna miss a lot from that library that they have in the PSVR.
But the point that I'm making is like you don't get Wipeout or Star Trek Bridge Commander or Tetris Effect Connected or Firewall or there is a lot of Moss
2 even
Moss and Moss 2, yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff that like I mean it would just help, right? There's at least 50 or 60 really good games that aren't just experiences that you would have had with that.
60? No way. No,
I
say 15.
I guarantee you. I guarantee
maybe.
you.
Less than 20. No,
take a look the next time you go to GameStop and look at all the things that say VR game.
Yeah, PSVR
or VR compatible.
PSVR, that means you could play it in
Resident
VR.
Evil 7. You can play the whole entire game in VR. Come on now.
Doesn't mean you should play it in VR.
Well, I mean,
Creed is a VR game. It's terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Have you played it?
Terrible. Yes, it was terrible.
The game is terrible, or it's terrible in VR.
Both.
Oh, well then it's just a bad game. It's not a bad VR game. It's just a bad game.
Just because it has VR in the name, the PlayStation VR compatible in the name.
There's a lot. There's a lot of good VR games.
All right. Well, You gotta keep your headset. I'm even debating.
I know.
At some point during the Christmas, I want to buy a new one, just to have a brand new one because this one that I have has been collecting. It has dust.
You're not going to use it, Dan. Why even bother buying a new one? Your thing is probably in perfect condition.
No, I'm sure that. No, it's not because I know when I want to say like maybe 10 months ago when I tried to put it on, the wire was kind of shaky and I had to play with the wire so I can get like a straight connection to the console.
Okay. All right.
So, and I don't know if it's because I've just been picking up the wires and putting it, behind, whenever I want to.
Just tossing it. Get out of here.
Yeah. So I want to have a working PS1 as nasty.
I know. I understand. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Because I got all these games that are going to be useless unless I get a PSVR 1 headset. So.
Yeah, but you're never going to play.
Well, you never know what I might do in the future.
I'll bet you money.
All right, so Xbox they were at a Tokyo Game Show, and they had a Tokyo Xbox showcase. Not a lot of notable things here. They really talked about Games Pass. They did talk about Wulong Fallen Dynasty, which is like Neo or Dark Souls or Demon Souls. Right. There's a demo that's out now if you want to play it. Right. So that's pretty cool.
More Chinese influence, but like swords and whatnot in a feudal China, I guess, kind of situation. It looked cool. Is it not? No.
No. It definitely looks cool. I played a little bit of it. It's definitely in the mountains. I don't know where I am, to be honest.
Okay.
It's more of the tutorial. If anything.
Right.
I'm not in an actual setting. We do know that Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle Special Edition is coming Games Pass in the spring, and they were very Games Pass heavy.
As they should be.
The Xbox Series S is doing very well in Japan compared to any other Xbox console, right? So I know they really want to focus on Games Pass and give people Games Pass out in Japan. They did talk about Guilty Gear Strive, right? One of the best games on the PS5 that was a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah,
that's coming to Xbox. That's coming to Games Pass in the spring, and also a game that we all knew was going to come to Xbox. We were just waiting for the exclusivity to expire, and that's Deathloop. They announced it. It came out September 20th on Games Pass, so you can play Deathloop. And apparently they fixed some things towards the ending of the game, and people didn't like the end of the game on the PlayStation 5, and they fixed that on the Games Pass.
Did they move that forward to the PlayStation version too? I would hope so.
I would think they would have, but I don't know. Spawnwave was talking about how much he didn't like the end of the game, and they seemed to fix it. So
yeah, I got to get back into that. I'm like somewhere in the middle. So
okay, so that was it for the Tokyo Game Show sort of announcements. We did get one thing that came out after Tokyo Game Show, and that's we are getting a new Iron Man game by EA Motive. They are working on a new Iron Man game. So Marvel is really going. They're really pushing. You got Marvel's Midnight Sun, which was like sort of that XCOM style game that's coming out in December. That's another December game, by the way.
Right.
That's another December game. Protocol, Callisto Protocol, and Midnight Sun, Marvel's Midnight Sun. We got a new Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2, that's supposed to be coming out next year, right, with Venom in it. We got Wolverine, the new Wolverine game that's in the works, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of Wolverine, I love that Deadpool 3 is happening, coming out in 2024. And Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine in that game, so he would officially, and Deadpool officially will be in the MCU.
I love the announcement that they did for that, because it was Hugh Jackman and who's the guy who plays Deadpool?
Green Lantern.
What's his name?
I don't know.
I know he's also the Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds. Thank you, Ryan Reynolds.
I thought you were gonna run with it. I was like Green Lantern. I thought you were gonna. Green Lantern. He plays Deadpool.
Green Lantern. He references that in Deadpool. Funny enough. So they're like sitting on the couch, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing Deadpool 3, and we've got Wolverine." And it's like, "Look, I know what you're thinking. Logan happened. And we're not gonna touch Logan. But here's how he comes back." and then they just slowly crank up the background music so you can't hear them like talking about how in the hell was Wolverine going to be in Deadpool 3 with the events of Logan that happened and all that. And I don't want to give anything away for Logan. See Logan. It's amazing. It's sad. But it's a very good movie. I have an easy way of how they could get him in Deadpool 3 because Logan takes place in a undisclosed time in the future. So you just kind of sandwich it in between that, and there you go.
Yeah.
You can make that happen.
Well, you can put it. You can even if you want to tie everything in, you can make it the start of what Logan will be, right? Right.
Sure.
With Professor X, right? With Professor X. I'm not going to say any more than that. With Professor X, you can make that like sort of the start.
Sure. And there's also the multiverse. You could do the multiverse thing. Like, there's ways to make it work. Yeah. So, but we're getting Black Panther game by EA as well. Yep. So it's a good time to be granted these games are a year or two out at least, but it's a good time to be a comic book fan right now.
Well,
big things are coming.
That's just DC. We got Justice League. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. It's the only way you can put Superman in a game because it's all powerful, right?
Right.
No one can make a good. And then
Gotham Knights.
To see a good Green Lantern game. I know we had. They were all terrible. I like a good Flash game. That would be good. Do that.
I mean, sure. Yeah. I'd rather them do. Well, I mean, they're all in Injustice, right?
Yeah, but I kind of want to you know what? What I'm gonna make this hard. What DC character, DC, not Marvel, you would want to see a full-fledged open world game of? Batman, obviously, because we know about that.
Superman. It's the easiest question, then. We haven't really had a good Superman game.
Not Superman. Oh, wait, and we know we're getting a Wonder Woman game too. That's
right.
In the works.
Right.
We got a teaser. We don't know anything about it.
Okay, fine. Man of Steel. Technically not Superman.
All right. You're right. Okay. All right. You're right. No. You're right. We had an Aquaman game. I would love to see them make a better open world Aquaman game. That would be great.
Would it be underwater?
Not with Jason Momoa. Well, yes, it would. You could be like the Legend of Zelda, right? We talked that because look in Tears of the Kingdom, it looks like Skyward Sword meets Breath of the Wild, right? Like you have how they're going to do that map, like
the above and the belows, right?
Mm-hmm. You got the above and the belows. You could do the same thing with Aquaman. You could have on land and in the ocean.
I mean, I don't know the prospect of swimming around in the ocean exclusively in an open world game. Not the best. Swimming is tough, and having it all underwater, I don't know. But if there were some land elements and whatnot, you go in and out of the water. Sure, I could definitely.
How about this? How about this? Brand new story, has nothing to do with the movies, nothing to do with the TV shows. It's underwater, but they have just like the movie. They have you can have like a city that's like underwater in a bubble, right? Like it's in the bubble. They breathe air and technology. They have advanced technology. It's just that they have water everywhere. Water is not like here. Like nobody wants to be wet, but there everyone can be wet. They're not mermaids. They could walk, right?
Right.
So and then it just how like we could just go hunt and go to the forest. You know what? I'm gonna go fishing. I'm gonna jump and go into the ocean and come back. Something unique. I love to see something unique.
All
right.
I've got it. Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Open world Peacemaker game.
With John Cena as Peacemaker.
Oh, it's got to be John Cena, and John Cena has to voice the character too. Yeah, because John Cena is the man.
All right, let's end with all the news stories with the Game Awards. The Game Awards, it's coming. We know it's coming. It's officially been announced. I think we talked about that a couple of months ago. Definitely coming December 8th, which is my mom's birthday. That's how I remember it. But they will have fans in attendance this year. Dave, you want to go to Game Awards? You want to go to LA?
Never been. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Wonder how much tickets are going to be. Probably a lot.
I think it'd be that much. You think so?
I think it's going to be like $100 plus. I bet.
Really? I was going to say $45.
$45? I mean, maybe for the nosebleeds, maybe.
All right, 100.
Man's got to pay for that show. Kiwi's got to pay for all the glitz and glamour.
You know what? I'll take I'll pay $45 and I will be happy to have a guy walk around me that's a mascot for a shaving cream company, something. I'll take.
He only did that the 1 year. He's gotten more tasteful with his brand integration for supporting the show. So I got to give him that. But
I'll take it. That's what
I want. All right.
Dave, you getting good plans this weekend?
I do. Well, coming up soon, we got our spooky, scary themed Saturday morning retro. So I am very excited to play my game. I love this season. I love spooky, scary games. I hate chainsaws, but I manage. And as a little Easter egg, if you're watching the video of this, we each have a game that will be our Saturday morning retro game coming up soon. If you can spot it, one of ours may be a little bit more obvious than the other, but hit us up on social media if you find out what it is. We're very excited to see. But yeah, so I'm going to be playing that. And sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's spooky scary season, and you do it big for Halloween.
I do.
And I'm supposed to guess your Halloween costume.
Oh, that's right.
I need a hint.
Okay, that's right, because we said in the last episode, I give you a hint every episode until you get it, if you get it, up until the day. Okay. So I gave you the first clue that it was video game related, and you guessed, I think, one of the Splatoon guys or girls. And I said no.
It is not a Splatoon character. No.
Okay.
No. Okay.
It is not based off a video game, but it's video game related.
It's not based off a video game. Video game related. Are you going as Kojima?
It's a good guess, but no.
Really? Oh.
Is that your guess? That's your guess. All right. No, I'm not Hideo Kojima. I think that
you would have
maybe
to cut your beard off. You would have to cut your beard.
He's got a little thing, I think, a little bit, but
you would still have to cut it off.
I think that may be considered yellow face. I don't think I can do that, Dan.
Okay.
I don't think I can do that. But yeah, wow, okay, Hideo Kojima.
Well, I didn't know if you. Well, I'm again. You do the hairstyle. You have to cut your beard off, and grow.
I've done it before.
Grow it back a little, and I know he likes to wear these t-shirts and the jacket, right?
Yep.
And you gotta get glasses.
Got a very cool.
You get the glasses, right? So I can see. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I told you I met him once, right?
You did.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't see it on camera right now, but just out of frame up there is a signed Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker poster that I had gotten from TGS, from the Tokyo Game Show, funny enough. Long story on that, but he was at Best Buy over on 14th Street, which used to be our Circuit City, way back in the day where we used to work. And he was there doing signings. I had him sign the Peace Walker thing, and super nice guy. And he was there like all day just signing stuff.
We'll take your word for it that it's up there.
Oh, it's up there. So yeah. Okay. So what are you doing this weekend, Dan?
I'm just gonna relax,
chilling.
I know. I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna maybe jump into, Jack and Daxter some more. I know I that was my Saturday morning retro game for September.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I haven't beaten it. Don't know if I'm gonna finish it per se. I'm just gonna jump back and play some more of that. And really jump into the next game for Saturday Morning Retro, so that I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the next.
Yeah, nice. Well, all right. That is episode 331 in the books. I want to apologize. I want to apologize personally for my sickness because that delayed some of our shows. We are back in full force. New episodes coming every Tuesday, and new Saturday Morning Retro episode coming out at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. And we want to thank you guys for doing all the good stuff that you guys do, for liking, commenting. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. You can check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.